All right, so today, what's our goal today? Our goal is to review all of chapter 4 and chapter 5. So I just showed you 4.1 in lesson 5.4. We've gone over 11 lessons, by the way. So a lot of material to kind of review over here. So we're looking at trigonometric applications. So we're going to apply trigonometry and mathematical and real world problems. So the first one was just mathematical. I didn't have anything real world about it, but that's what we're going to see today. Okay, let's take a look at example number 1 here. It says, what is the exact value of tangent negative 14 pi over 3 if it exists? What are some ideas you have for how we could solve this? Okay, this is lesson 4.3, by the way. I hear add 2 pi. Why should we add 2 pi? What's the problem with what you're looking at? This angle, is that on the unit circle? Why not? What's wrong with it? It's too small because the negative. So we would add 2 pi. So what we're going to try to do is get this on the unit circle. This is one way of solving this problem, is using our unit circle. Let's try to find the value at the unit circle. So we would add 2 pi. Just because I've done this a few times today, I'm going to write negative 14 pi over 3 here. And instead of adding just straight up 2 pi, because I would have to get a common denominator. To get a common denominator to add 2 pi, the denominator needs to be 3. I would have to multiply both numerator and denominator by 3. What is 3 times 2? 6 pi. So it's negative 14 pi plus 6 pi's over 3. The way fractions work is the denominator will not change, just the numerator. So it'll be negative when you add and subtract, that is. It'll be negative 14 pi plus 6 pi. What is negative 14 pi plus 6 pi? Negative 8 pi. Now, is that going to be on the unit circle? What's wrong with that one? Still too small. So what do we do now? Add another 2 pi, which is, this time I'm just going to write it as 6 pi over 3. If any of you are lost, what is 6 divided by 3? 2. I'm adding 2 pi. I'm just doing it as a common denominator. So negative 8 pi over 3 plus 6 pi over 3, again, will give me a pi over 3. How many pi's if it's negative 8 pi plus 6 pi? Negative 2 pi over 3. Now, is that on the unit circle? What's the problem? Still too small. So we do this another time. And it'll only be one more time because this time we're going to turn positive. What's negative 2 pi over 3 plus 6 pi over 3? 4 pi over 3. What we just found are coterminal values. And the reason you do that is because with trigonometric functions, they are periodic is the word. Periodic means their values repeat. So tangent of negative 14 pi over 3 will equal the tangent of 4 pi over 3. They will be the exact same answer because they are periodic. Their values repeat over a certain period of time. Okay, so we go to our unit circle. I find 4 pi over 3. Now sine is y, cosine's x, tangent is y over x. So once we find 4 pi over 3, I'm going to take my values and divide my y over x. The 2's will cancel each other out. You can ignore the 2's. That's why we say just treat the 2's like as if they were h's and ignore them because they cancel one another out. So really, you're taking this y and dividing it by this x. So our value should be negative square root of 3 divided by negative 1. Now tell me about this. What's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. And square root of 3 divided by 1 is square root 3. Okay, switch gears with me. I want to talk to you about a second way you can do this. Could you use your calculator? Yes. With a pi, pi means what type of mode? Radians. Because remember pi, the number 3.14, where that comes from is on a circle. It's a count of radiuses to get around halfway around a circle. So if you took this radius length right here and you measured it, how many radiuses would it take to get from this point here, if this is your start, to this point here, if this is the end? How many radiuses would it take to get around the outside, the circumference of the circle? it would take 3.14, or we'd say pi radiuses. Well, that's not how we actually say it. We say radians, a very similar word. Radians, radiuses. So radius always goes from the center to the outside. A radian is a radius length, but on the circumference or the perimeter, whatever word you want to use. So that's what a radian is. So anytime you see pi, you're always in radians because that's what it's measuring, radiuses. With that, go to your calculators, type this in. I'm going to show you something cool. Type in tangent negative 14 pi over 3. And if I press enter, I'm going to have a problem. I'm not in radians, are I? So I'm going to press enter, then change it. Otherwise, it'll delete it. And now I'll have to copy and press enter again. I'm getting 1.73205. Is that similar to your answer? Okay, something I want to point out here is we know what the exact answer should be. We know the answer should be square root of 3. Is that correct? Now, if you're taking a multiple choice test, you could play the matching game. You could type in answer choices, and lo and behold, would the square root of 3 generate the same decimal? Does that work if you're taking a test? Okay, but let's say you're not taking a test. What if you want to complete your Alex? You're going, hey, Alex doesn't give me multiple choice. I can't play the matching game. I can't just figure it out. Well, mathematically, here's how you do it. With pre-cal, in my class, there's 2 situations where you're going to see never-ending decimals. Okay, they're called irrational numbers. They come from 2 different things. One is working with pi. What's pi's number? Is it actually just 3.14? No, it's a never-ending number. So if you have a pi included, you'll have a never-ending answer. The other irrationals come from square roots. Now, I want you to put on your thinking cap for a second. We got this value by tangent of negative 14 pi over 3. We've already used our pi. So if you use your pi here, that means that's the angle. This is then side length, which doesn't include pi's. They're always with square roots. That means this is a square root. The way to trick your calculator to give you the answer is to do the opposite. What's the opposite of a square root? Square. Okay, so come down here on your blank line, just hit a square button. Hit the square. It'll say ANS. What does that mean? Answer. If you press answer and then hit square, hit enter, what does it say? 3. So now we know that our answer was the square root of 3. How do I know it's the square root? Because I just did the opposite. What's the opposite of square root? Square, and it gave me the number 3. Does that make sense? Can I show you that again with a different function now? Let's say, just for example, I wanted you to find the cosine. I'll write it down over here. This is extra. Let's say I wanted you to find the cosine of negative 25 pi divided by 6. And I want it with no decimals, the way a lot of your Alex homeworks are written. If you did not want to do the coterminal stuff we did using the algebra, type it in, let's see what you get. So find your calculator, go to cosine, make sure you're in radians again. Negative 25 pi divided by 6. Press enter. If you get a crazy decimal, what does that mean? And you know it's not the angle. This is the side range. We already typed in the angle, so it's not the pi. What's the only other way to get a crazy decimal? A square root. So our calculator is giving us the square root value. What should we do to get rid of that square root value? Square it. Square it. Press enter. Get 0.75. So that means it's the square root of 0.75. Do y'all know what 0.75 is as a fraction? Okay, if you did not know, you could always just go menu 2, 0.75, menu 2, 2, and it'll change to 3/4. So our answer has to be the square root of 3/4. The answer would be the square root of 3/4. Well, square roots you can reduce It's a fraction. If you can reduce the numerator or the denominator, do so. Can you reduce the 3? No, that stays the square root of 3. Can we reduce the square root of 4? What is the square root of 4? 2. So the answer would be square root of 3 over 2. Cool. All right. Your turn. DOL number 1. What is the exact value of cosecant negative 13 pi over 6? You can use whichever technique you prefer.